Okay, so we're going to look at composition quickly here. And basically there's three sort of general categories of composition. First, the type-driven composition, and we're clearly focusing on this, right, where you're really limited to text, and you have to use the text to try to create some meaning out of what content you're given. The image-driven, and this is where the image is the real priority. We tend not to focus on this primarily because then the image creation is the important piece, and we're not talking about image creation, we're talking about organization. But clearly image-driven is a style of design that's very popular. And the visual-verbal synergy. I think this is probably the most commonly used, and we'll definitely do some of this. The idea here is that the image and the type should all be connected, both holding equal importance on the page, right? So this image is essential to the layout, and so is the text and the way the text is aligned and organized. We should also look at the 3 A's of good composition. First, action. The piece should have movement. It should feel like or it should be, its action should be motivated by what you're trying to communicate. So in this, you'll see that there's some nice contrast. There's a contrast between the large lion and the smaller animals. There's this counterpoint also where the text occupies the upper left and this animal occupies the lower right. Those are all ways of making that action felt, right? It can also have to do with where the midline falls on the page and how the edges of the page work. But those all create senses of movement and senses of a sense of action on the page. Arrangement. And arrangement is probably the one that you're going to spend a lot of time with. Deciding whether you're going to do a flat arrangement versus an illusion of depth, gradation and illusion, shallow versus deep, closed versus open, dominant versus multiple, singularity versus juxtaposition, static versus a sequence, and near versus far. These are sort of some of the ways to think about how to juxtapose or how to present different arrangements, right? So you see in this piece, there's a number of smaller images, and they're kind of juxtaposed around larger images. The edges are all nicely aligned. Everything's arranged appropriately. The text fills the boxes in this way. It makes it feel really solid and really built, which kind of connects with that architectural image over on the left. And then articulation. Articulation is a little difficult. The textbook would say it involves how well you express and how fully you craft transitions, but really you're thinking about harmony, and you're thinking about attention to transitions and to the way you move from page to page, or the way you move from element to element on the page, and that's articulation.